did. I did.
You're like, I did.
I watch them all. It's been a better year than usual. I'll say that.
Can I admit something, Jig?
Please do.
When I watched Flacco start slinging that thing, I was like, what? Like,
Me too.
have we not been watching quarterback in this whole season?
Me too. Me too.
Damn, he was slinging that pickle, man.
He
I
was
was like,
slinging the
what
ball,
was
man.
that?
He was hitting receivers at all levels. He was look, I mean,
Yikes.
even the interception, I mean,
One play,
it was just one play.
right? Just one play. But other than
play.
that, like on that first drive, he like goddamn Joe Montana out there for a little bit.
He's like, look, the guy's a legitimate quarterback. I mean, he never won a or he was never in a Pro Bowl.
I find that hard to believe.
I agree. He never made a Pro Bowl. But you figure how much competition he had in the AFC.
Every time we played them, I remember thinking, man, he's better than he gets credit for. Like he was at a Roethlisberger level, but he wasn't as much of an asshole, so he didn't get the publicity.
He has a great
Ben
arm.
did it with his legs. Ben did it with his legs too.
He's a great arm. He smart. He really can. He can hit guys at all levels. And I mean, guy made one bad throw all day, and it was at like the worst time.
Yeah, no, you're not. Hey, I was watching him. Me and my father watching him. We looked at each other and was like, "What?" Like, and that's. I don't want it to be an indictment on Deshaun Watson, but I think we had lowered our bar so far just to be okay with the play that we have been getting from that quarterback.
That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying about Deshaun, man. I'm just like, dude, this guy's been awful. Like,
yeah,
he's been terrible. He
hasn't been good, man.
No, Deshaun was so bad. That's why I was like, when people were talking about it, he's been fine. I was like, this dude's been terrible most of the time. That's why when Flacco was out there, he was hitting receivers at every level. I was like, this is how a quarterback plays. I think he might have been. I think that might have been a case of quarterback being better off for having had the year off and not taking a bunch of hits. I don't know. We'll see this week.
I'll tell you what it did, because I mean, I feel like if he had Cooper for the whole game, we would have won that game.
Yeah, I think so. I think I mean, I don't know enough about quarterbacking to say exactly what happened on that last play, but that safety, it looked like I think it was John Johnson. I think he baited him into that throw because I mean, he was standing there like a hawk.
And that was a karma. Like we talked about karma on the last episode with the Magic and the way they caught up with us at the end. That was karma because John Johnson wasn't great, but everybody knew it was Joe Woods. And
never used
we
him
still right. They never used him right. They were like, "Oh, John Johnson, you're a safety. We'll make you Troy Polamalu." And he's like, "Wait, no, I'm not Troy Polamalu. Like, don't try to make me."
Never used him right for a minute.
No. So, all right, let's get this thing cooking.
Oh,
wait, let me ask before we do this. Did you watch last night's game?
I did.
I didn't watch it live. I just watched it today before we were doing this episode.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell on myself before we get started.
Oh, you didn't watch last night?
No, I didn't watch it last night. I was out, but I did watch it today after I read Smooth's. I'll cover it on the episode. You ready?
I'm ready to go.
It's basketball time at the
Rubber Rim Job, Season 3, Episode 7. Magic Makeup or Magic Make Good. I'm not sure which one yet, but one of those two.
Come up with it.
The good guys, Jig, they got some much needed after a couple of days off. They gave out a much needed ass whooping. How you feeling today, my brother?
I mean, they look good. I mean, I was messaging back and forth with my buddies, Bushwick Bill, Damage, Quad, and Jesus in our text thread, our long-lived text thread. We've had a text thread going.
I picture the Sandlot when you tell me about this.
It's got to be like 15 years we've all been messaging. We became friends off the board, and we've been. I don't know what it is, but it's been a long time we've been buddies. Talking about
either Sandlot or Lean on Me with Joaquin Phoenix. You remember that? Have you ever seen that movie?
Body?
Oh yeah. Either Sandlot or Lean on Me. That's your group. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So It's like some combination of like, oh man, when is this game gonna go wrong? You know, with all that kind of stuff. Never went wrong.
Yeah.
Game never went wrong. I mean, they went out to a big lead. Looked like the Cavalanches of old. Orlando fought back, and then they just pushed it right back out. I mean, the guys were playing their roles as they were supposed to,
Right.
including the minivan. The minivan looked good. Garland looked smooth. Mitchell was playing. I mean, he's playing like he plays. I mean, he was playing hard.
Right.
He was scoring. I was very pleased with. I was very pleased with him. I mean, he was taking over, and he was playing a very good all around game last night.
Right.
And
Holy crap!
well-coached game overall. I mean, it really.
So
What?
I don't want to interrupt you, but we're getting some
The
crazy,
team looked very cohesive.
we're getting some crazy lag, and I know it's going to pop up on the stream. Do you know why? Because we didn't do our usual intro to get to the Cavs talk. Can you hear me? Can you see me? This is crazy.
You want to get into some off-topic stuff? OT.
I think we absolutely have to, because I'm seeing weird things happening here, and it's only going to keep happening until we, touch base on some of those things. So let's do that, and then we'll come right back to this Magic game, the meat of the show. In this past week, how's your week been?
Why don't you lead us in? I want to see what you have in mind.
All right.
I want to see what you have in mind.
So we just touched base on the Browns real quick. Super surprised with the quarterback output right up until that little play. I got concerts and stuff that are happening with my girls. Like this is the last week or two of school before they start this whole
I just
Christmas.
liked your post. I didn't know your daughter was a drummer. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I got two girls, 15 and 14. So I got a sophomore and an 8th grader. My 8th grader is a cheerleading captain. My sophomore is like the head of percussion for the marching band. And so the
Awesome.
sophomore drummer, her nickname is, since the day she was born, I've called her Boney. 8th grader, I've always called her Mushy. So now they're Boney Sticks is my drummer, and Captain Mushy is my cheer captain. So, yeah. So this week right here, and tonight even, I get to go see Boney Sticks.
I love it.
She gets to play. So they're transitioning from marching band over to not ensemble. What's the next thing? Spring band, jazz band, and concert band.
Okay.
So she's gonna do some little solo stuff, and they have costumes and stuff. They compete. They travel around her high school. So looking forward to that. What about your two little people?
Well, what do we got here? I mean, my son has been it's like all basketball right now.
Absolutely.
So we just finished up the one season. We were just talking off camera or off podcast about
Season of
tough
growth.
season there.
Yeah, season of growth.
Season of growth. So we're gonna be working some new skills in for our winter. He's gonna be playing on 3 different teams this winter. Which is fine. That's gonna be good. We're going into Cleveland. We're gonna watch the Bucks game on
That's
December
awesome.
29th.
Congrats, man.
He loves Giannis. Obviously, he loves Cleveland. He's a big Cavs fan. We talked about that, but he's like becoming like way into it. He wants to watch every game. But I gave him an option on a couple different games to play because he really likes to watch. He really likes Wemby.
Okay.
He's into the unicorns, man.
Yeah. No, a dude looks like an alien. I want to see him in person too. So
Yeah, he's
I don't
fallen.
blame you, Luke.
He likes the unicorns.
Okay.
But he really wants to see Giannis. He's got the Giannis shoes
Okay.
and everything. I just got him some Jordans, the newest Jordans. But he wants to see Giannis in person, so that'll be cool.
That's awesome.
Got some good seats, so we'll check that out. It's the game on the 29th, so we're doing that.
Is this your first time seeing Dame in person too?
Yeah. I've never seen Dame.
Never seen him live.
Dollar Dame.
I've never seen him live.
No, I've never seen him live. My son was asking me, like, he's all about, like, he wants to know exactly how good players are. He's got like his whole series of questions.
Okay.
How many All-Star games this guy's made? Is he gonna make the Hall of Fame? He wants to track down exactly how good these guys are, so
No,
he
I
can
like
watch
that.
their he wants to know whether it's worth it to watch their highlights.
Okay.
And so that he does, I'll like catch him watching their highlights. So
You know what would help him right now, possibly?
what's that?
That Bill Simmons book of basketball. Like, I just gifted it to Christian.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, shout out to Christian. I think Christian's 10. And he's got the Basketball Jones like a mug. He's not even like he's sleeping with his Donovan Mitchell shoes and stuff down in Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
And I got him that book, and promise you, Jig, like if it was like a textbook, he'd
love it. That's okay. I'm gonna get it for him for Christmas.
And
he would love it.
He ranks the players 1 through 100 historically.
Oh, he loves the rankings, man.
And this dude reached out to me, and he's like, "Hey, I read it, and then I went and looked at video. I can't believe Dr. J was that good."
I'm
I was
literally
like,
pulling it up right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull it up right now.
it's like this thick, but it's like an encyclopedia, and he's gonna love it because it's got.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yep.
He's an encyclopedia kid. He has been since he could read.
It's got their stats. It's got all that
He did
stuff.
this with Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah. No, he killed it.
Oh, this has got to be good.
As much crap as we give Bill Simmons, and he's such a Boston homer, this thing was laid out like a Bible for young guys to really learn the game.
I love Malcolm Gladwell too, though.
Yep. So shout out to Luke. What'd you say about your little lady? I didn't mean to cut her off.
No, she's something else, man. She's fun. I mean, I got my son like one of those basketball hoops that you hang on the door.
Right.
It sounds like a rhinoceros. I think I told you it sounds like a rhinoceros playing upstairs.
Right.
Anytime she hears that thing banging, she runs in.
Okay.
Smashes the door open. She wants to play with him. She's cool, man. She likes like building downstairs. She likes building castles and
absolute pillow castles and stuff.
Yeah. Well, like in the little blocks and stuff. She's 3, so it's just one of those deals where she's a kid, man.
She's terrorizing. You remember a movie that we watched as kids, Problem Child? You remember that?
Hell yeah, she's definitely in that range.
It was a boy, and then the Problem Child 2 was a boy and a girl, and they both were like terrorizing. Yeah. So
I got a couple calls early in the school year about like just like we're not going to give her a warning, but we're giving you a warning type things.
Right.
So like I started giving her pep talks before we go to school. I was just like, I want to make sure you get a punch card. I want you to be the best kid in class. Like they're both very competitive. So it's not like a be good. It's like be a very specific kind of good.
Absolutely. Give her like a little goal kind of thing.
Exactly. Exactly. So they do punch cards. So she's been good. We're on a streak. We're on a long streak. So she's good.
This is the last thing, and then we'll get into hoops, or we'll get into my record recommendation first.
Let's hear it. Hear it.
There was a thing that really, because I mean, I was smart when I was really young, and we're talking about a 3-year-old, but 4 or 5, going 5 years old or whatever, as I'm getting ready for like first grade and stuff. My parents, they did a lot of work with me at home to like get me reading books, and we had flashcards at home. My older sisters were supposed to do that stuff. Yep. I wish we had done some second language stuff, but whatever. It's nowadays you have to. But that book it thing with Pizza Hut, that right there changed my life. Like it made me want to eat books.
Same.
There's something to earning that little tiny pizza that I was like, look, man, like look.
Exactly.
I remember at 8 years old, I read Stephen King. I read Mario Puzo.
What did you read of Stephen King? I did too. That was the first I did at the same age. Do you remember?
That was the Night Trucker thing. It was the book that had the first.
I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
That's when I dug into Stephen King.
The first, eight, 9 years old. Like I should not have been reading this, but like the first chapter was about that trucker that was riding along and murdering people at night.
Yeah,
and I'm like 8 or 9 reading this, and then I jumped into Mario Puzo, the Sicilian, which was like a secondary Godfather back in Sicily.
I know who you're talking about.
Oh man, like I should not have been reading this stuff, but Book It made me like it was. Have you ever seen the Queen's Gambit with the chess girl where she could see see the whole thing on the ceiling? As soon as I started reading, because I wanted those free pizzas, like I could cast a whole movie in my brain with what I was reading. and it's going on to
Yes.
this day. I'm 40 years old and I read just like I just
Same.
learned how to read yesterday.
Do you
So,
remember Accelerated Reader? Did you guys?
I do
do that
remember
too?
Accelerator Reader.
Remember the colored books?
Yeah.
Tell me if you were like me.
You
What
gave me a
Remember they
flashback.
had the colored books and all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff?
No, totally. I remember green.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what I used to do, I would read, but it wasn't enough to just like read.
Okay.
Like I wanted to see like what other colors everybody had, and like I wanted to make sure that I had the highest color. If anybody, I can't remember exactly what they were. I want to say like tan was one of the higher colors.
Yep.
So if anybody was up at that color, I was reading.
I'm
my
coming
ass
for your
off.
ass.
I didn't
Yeah.
even care.
It was just
I
the
didn't even care
competitive.
what book it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, I probably should have.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, I literally. And then those little scholastic things that we used to get.
Yes.
Like, I probably should have checked this in myself at a very young age, but all I knew was that it made me great. And, guys like, watching wrestling back then, like Hulk Hogan and all that kind of stuff, like,
Yep.
they were like, competition is the best. So let's go. So I was approaching reading like that. When I finally got into sports, I was trying to rip people's heads off. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's good, but it's good. The way over time, I was like, it's good, but like at a certain point, it's like I need to just kind of focus on like what I'm doing instead of worrying about like everything else that's going on. But at the same time, it was useful. But yeah, now it's I'm with you, man. I mean, reading's the best, and I'm very pleased.
Man.
My son has big time
Yeah.
gotten into it too. It's cool.
I love that.
I think I would keep the Stephen King away.
Yeah, please do.
For
But that Bill Simmons
I read
book is good.
it. Yeah.
So I didn't, and then I think I attempted to start The
Good.
Stand, and I never did. So
That wouldn't have been as bad. It was so bad. It was such a bad one.
had you seeing some dark things.
Oh, big time, dude.
So
We'll
here's
save that for another one because
All right.
there's some other. We'll get into that.
here's my transition for that. I'm going to do my
Go ahead.
my record recommendation. And so
Can't wait.
I'm reading a book and I'm halfway through it, and I've always loved this album. I've always loved this artist. My mind is so blown reading this book. I had no idea I was going to learn as much as I am. And so Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, late 2000s going into 2010. Little white rapper pops up on the scene, and he's doing everything underground. He's releasing his own music like on like Kazaa or LimeWire, whatever you want to call it back then.
Yeah, Morpheus, all that.
MySpace. He's in everybody's MySpace list, faves and stuff. Morpheus, all of that. And I'm like, man, let me look this little guy up. Like at that point in time, there was one guy from Pittsburgh who was starting to like get some pop, and that was Wiz Khalifa. His Black and Yellow, all his mixtape series about getting smoked out, everything like that. It was like, yo, this is. I was like, I didn't know Pittsburgh actually knew how to read and write, let alone rap. So now we're going somewhere. Enter into this Malcolm McCormick, known to the world as Mac Miller. And
okay, yeah.
This little guy, the first mixtape I heard from him was Kids around 2010. And I was like, this little white dude is dope. Like, this little white dude is taking it back to like backpack hip hop, like there was a lot of flashy whack stuff out at the time. And for him to come along, and you can tell he was a historian of hip hop, because he was pulling in like Tribe Called Quest, he was pulling in Little Brother, he was pulling in all kinds of influence from a lot of underground rap that shouldn't have been on his radar, but it like he was like what I was like, yo, I thought Eminem was gonna end up like doing like this, because you could tell Eminem had a history and a working knowledge of it, but then he just got so big so fast. Mac Miller kind of still was bubbling under the surface with all these mixtapes, and he was giving shout outs to the legends. He was doing all this stuff. 2018, he's got a couple albums out. He's all over the news. He's dating Ariana Grande, and that's been all kinds of turmoil and all kinds of, whatever. And word starts getting out that this kid is actually spiraling. Like, he's got some things going on. He's struggling. Y'all might want to intervene here. I think by that point in time, he might have had a hospitalization or two. I think, big time drugs were at play, but then the underlying thing was his wellness. He just wasn't well. halfway through the year, at the end of the summer, after I think they had just broke up. So him and Ariana Grande had just broke up. She like within like a day or two, she started dating somebody else. And I was like, holy crap. You remember that? Like around that time, it was like Mac Miller and Ariana Grande are a thing. Then like 2 days later, she was like totally booed up with, was it that one comedian? The Nick,
Pete Davidson.
Pete David. Man, that had to crush old Mac there. But around August, he drops one of the best albums. It literally immediately went into my hip hop top 20, and it's probably right outside of my top 10 at this point in time. And that's no small feat, because I'm telling you, like, there's 2 or 3 Nas albums in that top 10. There's 2 Common albums in that top 10. And there's so many legends that, like, Biggie has his one album up there. This album should not be encroaching that top 10. It's called Swimming. And
Okay.
if, I'm not teaching you something, but if you haven't heard this album yet, this album is all about finding your way. It's about, let me get back to the surface and let me get my head above water so I can get, let me start taking care of some of the stuff I got to take care of. His first single from it, I believe, was Small World, Small Worlds. His 3 singles were Small Worlds, Self-Care, and What's the Use. Small Worlds is one of my favorites from the album. The world is so small till it ain't. We're building up a wall till it breaks. And he's just talking about the day-to-day trying to just maintain, trying to just stay well. If you got an addiction, trying to kick it. If you're in a bad marriage, trying to straighten it out. Like, whatever the thing is, swimming is about finding, getting back to the surface. And it's so deep because all of the different songs, he goes more deeper into, hey, if you're depressed like I am, like, this is some of the things I've had, but this is how my addictions hurt my family. If you got this, if you got that. Dude, it was like, you had a when you gave me Jeff Buckley last week, thank you for that. Like, I love it. And when I listen to good music, I deep dive. And so I'll go through,
yes, me too.
Then I'll give myself a day or two, then I come back to it. I'm there with Jeff Buckley right now. Like, so thank you very much.
Good. Glad to hear that.
This album was like that in real time, like watching this happen. And dude, just like what you said last week with Buckley, I'll be damned if less than a month later this kid wasn't dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
as soon as you check them out.
Yeah, no, I already knew about Mac Miller. I knew he was awesome. I watched him blow up. He blew up for almost 10 years. He blew up for 8 years, finally broke through, came out with 3 albums. This one was the one that was going to make him an international superstar. I kid you not. This one was going to make him like as big as like Eminem, bigger than like the Harlows and these other dudes that are like whatever, like benefiting some from being white rappers. Like, because this dude had the background to be like a great everything rapper. It wasn't white. It wasn't black. It wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It was like, he's just a great musician. He's a multi-instrumentalist, makes his own beats, all that. He just didn't have that breakthrough song or that breakthrough album yet. And that's what this was. And less than 30 days later, he was dead. So,
wow.
And he succumbed to his addiction. So I think it was a fentanyl, coke overdose or something like that. And alcohol. Yeah, it was crazy. So this book is kind of diving.
Yeah, it's a shame how many of these guys go.
Man.
So,
and I
really,
mean, they say artists are tortured souls. And they're just, they create things that are awesome to just get an outlet, just to, you know what I'm saying, let some of that valve, let some of that pressure out. So anyway, dude, if you get a chance, dive into this album. If you did it in real time, then I'm reminding you.
I've been checking out everybody you've recommended.
This is and it's not even somber, because actually the album is great music. It like makes you feel good, like, because you're like, wait a minute, I relate to this guy, and this is like a rich little, privileged kid, but he wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, he literally was like, I don't care where you go, what you do, how much you got, whether you got bad bitches like Ariana. Well, I don't care. Like, you can feel these pressures and you can succumb to them. And this album is all about swimming to get back to the top, So, or just keep swimming, like on some Finding Nemo shit. That's what the album is all about. Just keep swimming. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man, I
love it.
I didn't mean us to get serious while we're talking about the magic and everything like that, but
you got to, man. It's music.
Those three songs, Small Worlds, What's the Use, and The World is So Small. What was the other song I said? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Self-Care. So Small Worlds, Self-Care, What's the Use? If you don't check out the whole album, check out those three. And
check it out.
know that deep down inside, the whole album is about mental health. And it's about, just keep swimming and stuff. So, yeah. Mac Miller was a beast. I liked him in real time, but I was just kind of like,
I really did not get into him because I really didn't get that into hip hop until the last couple years.
Okay.
I mean, when I was in high school, I would listen to the popular stuff.
Yeah.
And then within the last, I would say 3 years, I started listening to. I went just went out on my own, and then I was just like, you know what, I want to try out hip hop. And then I started listening to, everything. I've listened to, everything. And I love it.
It's amazing because
I missed him. I really skipped over him.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing because especially when it comes to hip hop is there is a racial undertone to it. The Beastie Boys in the 80s, they really only broke through because Russell Simmons, what he was doing and stuff. And Russell Simmons, mm-hmm. Rick Rubin, and those dudes. Mm-hmm. But then since then, we've been devoid of really good, talented, rappers that are representing white culture and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, we start having every decade or so, we have one, and it keeps coming from the Midwest. Jig, you got Eminem from outside of Detroit. You got Mac Miller from outside of Pittsburgh. Then you got Jack Harlow from outside of Louisville. These dudes start popping up and they're like, we're just regular dudes who are not privileged. We're not living the LA and Hollywood and all that kind of stuff life. And they get a shot because it's everyday dudes like you and your Sandlot crew can relate. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
absolutely.
So when these dudes break through, you know that they're truly the cream of the crop because they have racial barriers within hip hop that they can't break for themselves. You get what I'm saying?
NF has gotten huge off of his YouTube stuff, and I like what I've seen of him. I haven't gotten super deep into his stuff, but
who did you just say? I have
very good. NF.
I have no idea who that is.
Literally it's just the initials NF. Just look him up.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, wait, who?
Good.
What?
I know his videos are very, very simple, very dark. Very dark. A lot of it is just mental health related stuff.
Okay.
He's very clearly very inspired by
Mac Miller.
Eminem.
Okay, Eminem.
But he's good. He's really good.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious where he's from. I would bet
watch it be some Midwest shit. Watch.
Oh, it's gonna be Midwest. I'm looking right now. He's got to be from the Midwest. Let's see. Gladwin, Michigan.
I told you. Look, I'm telling you, there's a truism to, and I mean, race is a construct, but it happens in every industry. You know what I'm saying? It the same way it happens in this society where, minorities are that underflow, and it won't, no matter what you say, there is a thing to it. It can happen within these sub things too. So within hip hop, for every Mac Miller, Eminem, or this MNF dude that you're hoping or that you might see break through, there's a whole cluster of white rappers who never got a shot because it was dude, you're just a white dude. You know what I'm saying? Same thing happened with black people in rock in the 50s and all that stuff. We can go on with this forever. I don't want to
sure.
we gotta bring in some magic talk. Got
a Cavs podcast.
That album is my recommendation, Mac Miller Swimming.
I dig it. I'm gonna listen to it.
And I'm gonna check out NF. So the good guys had a couple days off, right? And so from that last game, which actually was a little scary, that game against Detroit, they had a couple days to, ruminate a little bit, rest those bones, give themselves a chance to do some things. And they pop up back in Cleveland yesterday or last night. And let me give somebody a shout out real quick, Jig, before we start talking deep in this game. These 2 games in a row now, I wasn't able to watch the game in real time. For the Pistons game, my daughter's high school was in the state championship, and I'm shout out to Sebastian and Ron. Sebastian and Ron G were giving me play-by-play the entire game. I'm like, oh, awesome. Like they didn't know it because they weren't texting each other, but like they were perfectly synced. So like Sebastian would be like, all right, this is what's happening. And I'm like, oh,
Did they have the same take on the game? Did they seem to have the same take?
Kinda. Both of them, like I get texts from about 10 guys. I would put both Ron G and Sebastian over here in the once we get a new coach, all this stuff is going to be fixed. Then there's a whole.
That's definitely true for Sebastian. He wants him out.
Yeah, there's a whole nother cluster of guys that are like, we are now at the place where we believe Donovan and Darius need to be broken up, no matter who the coach is, too. So there's clusters of text exchanges.
Funny, isn't it?
But for that exchange, and then I got the sunshine pumpers. Like we got a call today from Stick Boatman that we'll dive into. He's a sunshine pumper for sure, and he'll pop up and be like, "Rich, before you flip out on the board, look at how awesome JBB's jacket is." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Damn it, Stick Boatman! Like
you gotta have it though. You
you gotta appreciate it, man. Like there's always somebody popping in." But the real shout out that I wanted to give is to Smooth. This dude has been killing it with these game. I'm talking about he's got his game recap up within 10 minutes of the game ending, and it's in depth. Like he's given
dude's content is fantastic. Yeah, people need to check that stuff out.
Check it out, dude.
You gotta check that stuff out, but make sure you're liking that stuff too.
Like it.
If you're reading
engage on it. Because this guy's putting in time to get those things done. And let me tell you, let me tell you guys something. It is quality. Like it's like I used to wait until the next morning to get the Akron Beacon Journal.
Yeah, that's not just like comments.
It's not just it's quality. So like I used to wait until the morning to get Terry Pluto in the Akron Beacon Journal or Bill Livingston for the Plain Dealer. Whoever was doing the Cavs for the Plain Dealer, I couldn't wait to read those after the game I saw because I was like, I know Terry's gonna keep it real, and I get it, and it just be whatever. Smooth is doing this in real time, like quickly, and so. I'm driving back from Chattanooga, which is almost 2 hours south of here. And I'm like, man, like when I get to the house, I'm going to watch this Pistons game. Let me see what Smooth thought. And he's dead on. When I watch the game, I'm like, every bullet point Smooth had is
better than any article.
It's something that I saw.
No, I mean, his content is fantastic. Yeah,
so
I've been super pleased.
Man, last night I was out, and when I got back in, I was like, I'm going to save the game for tomorrow. I'm tired. But I read Smooth's thing first, and then I got up this morning. I got my coffee, got started, and then I watched the game, and I was like, man, Smooth is killing it. So I just wanted to give him a shout out, make sure he knew that everybody is appreciating those, and let you guys know if you like get this content while it's here. Wham before the game with his game write-ups and stuff and his pre-game things. And I think Wham is doing most of those. And then Smooth with the post-game front page coverage and stuff. Check those out.
Super pleased.
So for me, I watched the game just now, and I was like, all right, I'm trying to look at it from these guys just took some time off. What's happening here? Man, they came out like gangbusters. They came out, the ball was moving. Strus was on fire. Donovan was on fire. Donovan like he hadn't been able to play for years. Donovan approached the game the way we thought Deshaun Watson was going to approach it. Like he was like, I've been locked up for years, and I'm just now getting a hoop, and I just want to just tear people's heads off.
What do you think happened?
What happened is what I keep seeing happen, but I don't want to keep. So like, we started off, we were running the ball through the bigs, and everybody was playing off of them and getting open, easy shots. They trusted the ball to move, all of that. When it becomes a Donovan Mitchell show, the ball stops and people get frustrated, and that like. It's easier to guard when the ball stops moving. So the Magic were able to rest on the defensive end, and they were able to start using more energy on the offensive end. And there was some they got a frustrating whistle for sure. Like, Banchero.
Oh, they were getting whistled on the Magic all night, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Banchero, Franz, those two dudes, they know how to, at 6'10", they know how to get a James Harden whistle. And it's frustrating to watch them because they're like, all right, it's one thing if you're 6'4", 6'5", and you flopping all over the place. Don't be 6'10" and flopping all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like
Embiid?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
Embiid thing going.
They got the Embiid thing going, and then the heartbeat of the team. There's 2 veterans off the bench. It's Joe Ingles and Mo Wagner. Those 2 dudes are the ones who are teaching them how to flop and stuff. So it's tough that, I like watching them, and I think part of the reason I like watching them is because it's like, man, Bankero's playing like a 6'10" point guard, and when he's not running the point guard, Franz Wagner is playing like a 6'9" Tony Kukoc point guard.
Ooh, that's good.
But they're definitely getting James Harden whistles. They need to be added to the James Harden school of floppers.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an excuse, though, for the Cavs to stop ball moving. The ball should still move. And so it sucks because when he's an awesome individual player, he's an awesome individual scorer, but his teammates get frustrated when that ball starts sticking. And there's no substituting the ball movement and the way it passes. We had a debate on the board, Jig. Me and KI for MVP. And he's talking about how much he loves ISO and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, man, I get it. No, don't get me wrong. I appreciate it. But there's a basketball truism.
Playoffs. Save it for the playoffs.
Yeah, the ball has to move. The pass is better than the dribble every time.
It's faster.
It's faster. It keeps the defense guessing. You're at the advantage. You're attacking.
That's a good argument. I loved you guys' debate there. That was great.
And I mean, it's, I don't want to be like, oh, well, I mean, I really want an argument because I know I'm right. But, like there's what keeps happening in NBA and everything is the commissioner will change the rules so it's easier for them to sell people. And, oh, yeah, look at this Michael Jordan. Everybody wants his shoes. Or, oh, look at this, whoever that person is. People want to see LeBron James dunk and crossover and Allen Iverson, this and that. But then you get the team like the Warriors where they're just moving that thing. And they're like, oh, no, it's just because they can shoot. No, it's the passing. You got to watch them. Like, they're not doing it right now. They look like ass, by the way. I was watching them last night against the Clippers. You got to take Klay Thompson out and out to pasture and shoot him in the head because he's killing that team. Like, have you had a chance to watch them play at all, Jig? I know I'm hopping around here. Dude, yeah, Klay Thompson is terrible. Like, he was missing wide open layups. I was like, oh my God, that looked like David Wesley under the basketball stanchion.
The David Wesley foam layup.
And I mean, it couldn't happen to a better guy because this dude was always talking shit to us during their run.
The PBS logo.
Yeah. This dude is terrible right now. Like, Klay Thompson has retired, but he's still on the floor getting them checks. And it hurts the Warriors so much right now. And it's such a beautiful thing to see. So.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love it.
So back to Donovan Mitchell. That ball's got to move. He was awesome. He gave us 20. Yes. And they closed it down to 5 points as a result of that. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the first half, there was a possession where Donovan brought the ball up, dribbled for like 20 seconds, and then forced something. And I literally watched Darius Garland stop underneath the basket. Everybody else was walking to go to the tunnel. Darius Garland stops underneath the basket, and he goes like this for like 5 minutes. And he's just like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And they won't come out and say it. Like, if they know the cameras are on it, they're pinching each other on the butt. But they are frustrated with each other because in the third quarter, Donovan did the same thing to Darius. So Garland had a possession where he forced it a little bit. And as they're going to the huddle or something like that, Donovan is standing there and he's just like looking like, you didn't see me? Like I had my hand up, And it's frustrating to watch because you know that they're figuring it out. But Garland was right. The ball should have kept moving. And at the end of the first half, if that ball had kept moving, they would have got a much easier shot than what Donovan ended up forcing up. So glad that they were able to steady themselves and still win the game. Can we celebrate something real quick, Jig?
I want to. I like to celebrate.
What was that from Niang? What was that from Bang Bang Yang Gang?
That was wild, man. Didn't we talk about a butt shot? Who had a butt shot last year that we were talking about on the podcast?
Was it last year? I think it was Robin Lopez. It was Robin Lopez.
It was Robin Lopez. It was that shot.
It was that same shot. It was an over the shoulder, just threw it like kind of crazy. That was that Bang Bang shot from Bang Bang Yang Gang. That was crazy.
Yang Yang.
He's given us a lot of everything. He's given us a lot of character. Here goes our.
You were scared of the doctor, but you did good. Good job, baby. Proud of you. Love you. You gonna hide? Okay, go ahead.
She's awesome. All you see is hair when she comes running up, and you hear this.
She is. She's like Animal.
Yeah, you hear
She's
this.
Animal.
Yeah, she totally is. You hear this tiny voice.
Very
It's
much like Animal. If you saw her on the drums back there,
yeah,
it's Animal. She's Animal.
okay,
Phenomena.
Phenomena. Do 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 do. Phenomena. That's her hit song right now.
She's Animal.
So yeah, no, Bang Bang Yang Gang gives you everything that you want. He's a beer drinking dad's dream. So
He is.
I know at the game you're gonna be
Is he
like,
a bad hombre? Is he a bad hombre? You've been asked that recently. I saw somebody ask you on the.
oh yeah, I'm sorry. So 2 for the Brew. 2 for the Brew tagged me in something. I was so groggy last night when I got in. I was like, I'm gonna answer him, and I haven't answered yet. Brew, I got you right here on the episode. Bang Bang Yang Gang is a bad hombre committee member. He's a bad hombre. I thought this when he was in Philly when I saw him trip Jaylen Brown in the playoffs from the bench. You don't trip a guy that's running on the court from the bench and not be a bad hombre. That's some bad hombre shit.
Can I say something? Can I say something? Max Strus has an edge.
Yeah, no, he does.
I wouldn't necessarily say that he's a bad hombre, but I wouldn't mess with him. Those guys that come from the Heat, they don't mess around. They come to work.
That cross, you talking about that cross chicken wing thing takedown that he did yesterday? He gave somebody a cross chicken takedown. It was a big guy. It was Goga Batazde, like 7'3" Yugoslavian, whatever he is. Like you would think that he could just like Kona crush somebody's skull. And Max Strus was like, I don't give a shit. And he like armbarred him and then flipped him over his hip in the third quarter. I was like,
that thing with Tristan, where Tristan came up to him and he was playing around and he was just kind of like, okay, why don't you go home?
yeah, no, he not only did he dismiss him, but he was basically like, I'll shut you down with one blow if you touch me again. Like he had a little bit of a, I'll tolerate you, but don't touch me again kind of too.
He does not play around. And that is exactly what like some teams need that guy. I mean, you want to have fun out there, I think, some teams, but the Heat are clearly not. We're not that type of team. It's just not the way that they were built. It's not the way Spoelstra is. I think the Cavs needed that element.
You think Max Strus has got a little Jean-Claude Van Damme to him? Like you think he got
absolutely 100%. He's got that element where like I could see somebody like messing around with him. Like, can you picture this? Like he's sitting on the plane, right?
Right.
And guys are like messing around, playing around in the back. And like somebody reaches up to like flick his ear or something. And he reaches around, grabs their hand. And nobody thinks he's looking and just breaks their arm.
like Steven Seagal without even like breaking a sweat. Just
yeah. And like nobody even knew he was looking in the first place. I could absolutely see him being that type of guy. He's very serious. He is a fantastic all-around player, and he is the type of guy that you make the playoffs, and he's the guy that's making the big plays in the last 2 minutes of the game.
It was like, I told you, dude.
I love him.
I told y'all. So a thing just popped in my brain. This is when we were in high school. This video game came out, and it was the rage for a little while. Do you remember Max Payne?
I never played Max Payne, but I do know the game.
Okay. How did you never play Max Payne?
No, I did play Max Payne. I actually did play Max Payne.
He was like a badass who just walked the streets of like New York and just like.
Oh, he does look like Max Payne.
I think he was like a former cop or something, and he got fired from the force, and he was like out to clear his name. And like he
looks like Max Payne.
You would be walking in the subway streets of New York and just killing people, and you like Max Payne is crazy. Like he used to like beat up and kill like hood people in the streets who were like, you know, G Unit gang, and Max Payne like whatever, like, and just shoot him in the head like in video games. I'm like,
he's got that look, doesn't he?
Yeah, Max Strus is Max Payne reincarnated.
He is.
So
he is.
Man, yeah, no, good call, man. He's a beast. He's definitely. We said after maybe like the first game or so, we were like, man, this dude is a leader. But
He's a leader.
That leader has got some "F you, pay me, F you, let me get this win" to it. You know,
big time.
I'm grateful for him because
Me too.
We said once we were like 2 of the leaders of the team are definitely Max Strus and Tristan Thompson. I think Strus might be like the guy. Like
It seems like it.
Yeah. So
It never seemed like Garland was that guy. It just didn't seem like he had that personality.
he's got a lot of
It seems
passive
like he's-
aggressive to him.
That's what it seems like. It just seems
Indirect
like
and
he's
passive
never
aggressive.
going to be that type of dude. It seems like he's just more.
Here's
Doesn't seem
something
like he has it.
Here's something fun from yesterday. I'll tell you a dude
Okay.
who does have it. Did you get to see the highlights of the Dallas Mavericks? Luka Doncic put up a triple double in the first half.
Did he really?
This guy. So I'm going to show you something. He ended up almost having a fight. So first and foremost, before we even get into this, he almost had a fight with a player on the floor yesterday. And Luka was killing the Jazz. He was eating them up. And the two guards for the Jazz are Chris Dunn from Providence and Colin Sexton of Cleveland Cavalier fame. And both of these guys were getting cooked by Luka. And so Chris Dunn, he's from he was homeless at one point in time. I think at like 7 or 8 years old. I don't remember his draft profile because I wanted him really badly. I was like, man, he's just like Dwayne Wade, but he got like a little more pissed off to him. When he was playing for Providence, they were terrible the year before he got there. He got there and he was like a guard version of Jimmy Butler. He took them to the Elite Eight right away. As soon as he stepped on the floor, he was that tough. But it was the way he was on the floor that I was like, don't mess with him. Well, the NBA has a way of humbling guys. And so this dude battled some injuries and stuff, and he never hit the heights of his number 5 overall pick for the Bulls. But he didn't get the memo. So he's out here with Golden Boy, Luka Doncic, who's wearing this headband that makes him look like, surfer white dude. Like he's like out here cooking these dudes, looking like Zach Morris off of Saved by the Bell. So I'm pulling this highlight.
I'm looking. Okay. I was gonna say because I'm looking it up, but if you got the highlight, I want to.
Yeah. I'm gonna play the highlight for us. I think it's maybe 2 minutes long because there's a fight, the almost fight. But look at this dude's headband and look at the way he's cooking him.
God, he ended up being so good.
Yeah. Look at the coaches. Look at them sprinting on the floor.
Oh my! What just happened with Chris Dunn and Luka? Colin Sexton is also in the middle of this as well.
And so somehow Colin was ready to rip off Seth Curry's face for some reason. And
How many teams has Seth Curry played for now? Is he up to 10?
I think he's at 10.
Why can't he find a home?
And look, Colin's telling the coach, like, get your hands off me. Don't touch me. Here's Surfer Boy. Like, what?
The enjoyment of a game that Dallas has.
And they're in Dallas when this is happening. So
96-67 with 3:30 left in the third.
What is that rubber band thing?
here, okay, they're about to zoom in and show you what happened between these two guys. Look at Chris Dunn.
What is he just staring him down?
Yeah, he
just staring at him.
He put his fingers in his face like I can't remember what he bitch ass whatever he called him. I don't know.
Sexton freak out so hard.
And Luke is obviously frustrated about his technical foul.
You can't touch another dude's
Yeah,
nose.
I think what Colin Sexton didn't like was
sometimes when he's just involved in the skirmish.
when Seth Curry came in. Colin Sexton was trying to make peace, and Seth Curry pushed his hands. Because Colin's going like this to separate Luka and what's name, but he's not like picking a side. He's just kind of like, "Come on, bros, let's hoop." Seth Curry comes in and was like, "Get your hand, bitch!" Like, and he was like, "Whoa!" Colin Sexton lost his cool and forgot he was in the NBA for a second. So
I'll never forget that Colin Sexton play where he just stared that dude down on the blocks during the free throw. I will always love that.
That was during a game, an AAU game, where they were playing Penny Hardaway's Memphis team. And Penny Hardaway was over there talking a lot of mess to try to get his players into the game. And Colin Sexton was cooking them dudes by himself. And Penny tells the one dude, it was actually Penny's son. Penny's son is on the floor. And Penny tells his son, shut him down. And so the son is like, he's telling his teammate, I got this dude right here. I got this dude they call Young Bull. It ain't gonna be nothing. I'm about to shut him down. And he keeps like just staring at him like you blah, blah, blah. And Colin just kind of like stops what he's doing and he comes down to his level and just like stared at him like, what you thought I was gonna run from you? You know, like kind of thing.
That was good.
And Colin
That
just
was
went
good.
right back to giving them buckets. Like I like Colin Sexton when that happened.
I did too.
He got to this level and he stopped the ball and he,
I did too.
But,
that was good. I'll never forget that. I'll always like him for that.
Yep. So I said all that to say, Luka gave him a triple-double in the first half yesterday. And
that's pretty impressive.
You know, Chris Dunn being from the homeless streets of Connecticut outside of New York or whatever, he's like, yo, I'm not about to take that. You know, so he took offense to it. I like how when, there's another clip that I'm not going to play, that he's coming in from out of timeout after he got the tech. And Luka walks over to the ref and was like, what'd I get a tech for? And the ref was like, y'all were standing there doing this and doing that. He was like, I'm good. He pissed because I'm cooking his ass. Like, it was like, they had an open mic. And if you can find that clip, like Luka flatly was just like, I'm fine. I'm happy. We're winning. We're beating them by 20. I got a triple-double. He the one getting cooked. He walked up on me. So I love open mic when it comes to like NBA.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's great hearing those.
Because these dudes are like when competition brings it, it's the great equalizer. It'll make a multimillionaire argue with somebody who has like pennies. Because it's like I just want to beat you in between these lines, kind of thing. So
absolutely,
that is, Luka might be knocking on the door of bad hombre the way that played out. First, because
anytime you hear him on the mic or you see him,
he knows how to play it.
Just you see him balling like in the playoffs and all that kind of stuff. He's getting there. He doesn't get messed around with. You know what I mean? He always comes back.
Do you think he's got like some brothers like Jokic? Like you think he's got some? Where's Luka from? Serbia? Is he Serbian?
Yeah, Jokic. That play on I don't know if it was
Marcus
Marquis
Morris.
Marcus.
Yeah.
That was one of those where I don't think anybody's messed with him since that play.
But
won't.
Even before the play, his two brothers, they were always
they're maniacs.
Man, they were over there crazy.
Maniacs.
Luka's got something like that. Like I guarantee you, because he's got his whole country behind him. You know what I'm saying?
Cousins or brothers or something like that.
Yeah, like it's Luka and the Dragic brothers, and that whole country will die for those dudes. So
definitely.
I'm just telling
at the very
Chris
least,
Dunn,
Luka's a good smack talker at the very least, and he's not afraid. He's not afraid to talk, and he's funny.
He had
very funny.
He had a calmness. You remember there was a play where Matt Barnes walked up to Kobe. Matt Barnes was playing for the Magic.
I love that.
And he did that whole thing with the ball in Kobe's face, and Kobe didn't even blink. Luka didn't blink just now. He just stood there smiling at the dude like, I wish you would.
He never does, though. Because he's funny. He's very calm.
I wish
since
you
he was,
would.
what, 14, 15?
Yeah. Like
that's what happens.
Them dudes in them war-torn countries, man, they're not afraid of like some little.
That's a good point.
That's
a good point. Man, if you've had bombs dropping all around you since you were 3 years old, it's going to be tough for somebody to scare you on the basketball court.
Like, it's, I want to say Chris Dunn.
You get some perspective.
I think both of his parents were in jail when he was like 8 or 9, and he had to live for himself. But
same thing. Like these dudes, they're not going to get scared if something happened on the basketball court.
Like over there, their parents were like, "We'll put you out of the house at 8, and you have to live for yourself in order to be, like in order to get back home." Like they,
like 300, where they put like the 3-year-olds out in the freezing cold, and they have to like fight wolves.
That's what happened right here. Some white fang Call of the Wild type shit that
I like dudes like that.
Yeah, so that
always
was.
Well.
I didn't mean to just take us on a curveball away from the Cavs in Orlando. I didn't want us to.
That's where we got to go.
I didn't want to belabor.
That's where we got to go.
My concerns, because we did come out of it with a win. But to answer you and Brew, I think that I think we can put Bang Bang Yang Gang, and I think Max Strus might be trying to knock on that door. He's not. So if the Bad Hombre Club is a tree house, he's at the foot of the tree, like saying, I think I might come up that thing. And if he gives us a playoff appearance that looks anything like the way he's carrying himself and comporting himself this season, and Max Strus is out there hip checking and giving us max pain, he's going to enter into my Bad Hombre Club. So
I dig it.
Yeah, I feel covered. You got Bang Bang Yang Gang. You don't know what he's going to give you play to play. You have no idea. Like,
yeah, he's all over the map. Which isn't a bad thing.
It's not necessarily a bad thing.
He's a wild man.
He's got a little bit of Anderson Varejao mixed with
a
little bit of Matt Harpering mixed with just awkwardness.
Wow.
Like There's like
Very awkward. Weird body. Weird body. Weird body.
there was a there was a some type of in-game video feed, and there was like a commercial that they shot for the arena where Bang Bang Yang Gang has to get on the elevator. Have you seen that?
No.
I think it was like, I don't think it was like, you remember that elevator with Mike Brown and LeBron where he's like, as soon as Mike Brown got hired, they said, "Where you going? Which way we going, coach?" And Mike Brown's like, "Up." And they played that commercial like 1,000,000 times with the whole team looking happy. It's something like that, but like I guess Yang gets on the elevator and he's talking to one of the dudes or something, and there's something crazy that happens in the elevator, and he gets off and he tells Tristan, "Don't take the elevator." Like he's like, "I wouldn't go that way. Like go the other way," kind of thing. And it was like in that in that commercial, I was like, yeah, I think everybody on the team respects and treats Yang like he's like the senior leader, you know, been through the playoff wars kind of guy.
Good.
There was one other note on Bang Bang Yang. Somebody on the board posted that Donovan Mitchell post game said that Yang came up to him and said, when you went 1-on-5, there were 4 other guys who were open past the damn ball.
I saw that.
Okay. Yeah.
Saw that.
All right, so I love him. Yeah, that's my guy. Like,
I love that.
All right, let's go.
That's what you need.
You know?
That's what you need.
Another development that we got to touch on before we start putting a ball on this thing, or before we go to your record recommendation. I want to touch on this because I'm really serious about it. The stick that Brad Daugherty is developing alongside John Michael, I almost feel like I'm watching a wrestler arc, because when Daugherty first came on board, we're like, oh, this is awesome. Like, this is great. This is all this kind of stuff. Now he's kind of going Jerry Lawler, like as an announcer, but the opposite. Like Lawler, everything he said was like negative and pessimistic. Everything Brad Daugherty says is roses and, you know, flowers. And I'm just like, dude, come be unbiased a little bit, you know, kind of thing. And I get it. Your former players and your color guys are supposed to like keep the fans engaged for us. It's getting to the point where I'm about to start turning Daugherty off, man. Cause he like, he can't go without being super, like almost Matty Gukas positive. And it's just like, come on, Daugherty, like stop. You didn't start off like that. Like be honest, like call a spade kind of thing. So yeah, no, I just wanted to put that in the air because it's been a little disappointing. Like I miss AC. AC gave you an unadulterated, honest take. Like he'll come down one take and be like, "Oh, I love Darius Garland. I love Donovan Mitchell." The next take, if they didn't do what they're supposed to do, he was like, "That's not how good basketball plays." Like AC was not gonna play around with you. And I kind of missed
even
that.
As goofy as he was, yeah.
Even as goofy as he was gonna stammer. It was gonna take him a long time to get the words. He might call,
but he'd give you
an honest take.
Yeah.
So
what's that about? You think Dan has any input in that, or do you think it's just? I think that's just the way he is.
I think that there's a preference among like some higher ups to be like, hey, we'd rather hear a more positive take. You know.
That's what I wonder. I wonder if Dan got in there, got his hands in.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm ultra competitive even as a fan. But I'm like, I'm not really living and dying with this thing, but I can get there, you know, where I'm like, oh man, like I'm hyper focused and everything. We talked about this with the Brew call. And then there's a block of fans who are like, we don't even want to be that deep in because you guys are just critical of everything. But Daugherty, come on, man. Like give us, because he knows the game so well. When he's the third guy on those broadcasts, he gives it a little more. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, he'll call certain things out for bad and stuff. But when I was watching the game just now and I was listening to him, I was like, man, he's almost excusing some bad things that are happening. You know, like he's ready with it for all of that. So
too much sunshine pumping when you want to see a little bit more objective analysis.
Sometimes. Because John Michael's job
has always been my.
Oh, don't you say what you're about to say. You coming
from QB has always been my favorite commentator.
I was about to fight you over Hubie Brown, man. I want to protect Hubie Brown.
Love Hubie
at all costs.
I love Hubie. I love Hubie. Love Hubie because he gives you I love Jeff Van Gundy too.
I was about to say Jeff Van Gundy is right after Hubie for honesty for me.
Right. It's that order. Yeah. Hubie, because he gives you just full on analysis, and he's an encyclopedia, man.
Right.
I mean, he'll give you these, he'll name players from the 70s, and he'll actually talk about the systems
And be totally accurate too.
It's brilliant.
Right.
And he nails everything. And it's not like a big ego guy at all. It's always about the basketball.
Right.
So I've always thought he was fantastic. I like to hear about the basketball during the game. With him, Jeff Van Gundy's got a little more of an ego, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I like it. But you know what I like most about him? I like when he calls out the refs.
I do.
And
too.
I like when because he's a coach. You know what I mean? And he was recently a coach, and he's been screwed plenty.
I guarantee you, JBB's favorite announcer is Jeff Van Gundy.
Absolutely. You know, and I've said this on previous podcasts too. But first of all, to give Jeff Van Gundy a little more credit, he's one of the best regular season coaches of all time.
Yeah, no, he is.
If you look at the numbers, and honestly, NBA wise, I mean, truly, like numbers wise, one of the best coaches there ever was. I mean, really, the dude was a great coach.
I agree.
And I mean, he truly, he really did a lot with, Pat Ewing was a great player, obviously.
That was the ghost of Patrick Ewing when he took over 97 or
exactly.
96,
and he had some good talent around him, but he did a lot with, and Larry Johnson he had in there too.
Sprewell,
but he was a really good coach, and he's just really fun. I think he's really fun to listen.
Those teams should not have been that good. Sprewell, Allen Houston, Charlie Ward,
exactly.
Chris Childs, Marcus Camby eventually. Yeah,
he had Ward. I think he had Ward at one point.
Yeah, Charlie Ward and Chris Childs were the 2-point guards for those teams.
I love him. I just love him. I've been a fan of him since I was a kid. And I'll never not be able to picture him hanging on that ref's leg.
that was Alonzo Mourning's leg that he was hanging on.
Oh, that's right. He was hanging on. I'm sorry. What am I talking about? I'm hanging on
for dear life. It wasn't even his player. It was Riley's player.
Yeah, I had a brain fart. It was Alonzo. Yeah, it was Alonzo's leg.
And he was just looking down like, wait, what are you doing?
That's one of the best moments in NBA history.
Totally
Would you agree? Like, if you were to list
I agree
50 of the greatest moments, that's one of them.
It had to be because it was, but also at the same time, that's where NBA started going a little WWE. Like,
yes,
it was like, wait, what's happening here? You know,
that was that different era of basketball. Yeah.
I have to I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on this before we close out.
Yes.
It was so WWE, the end of the Lakers Suns game the other day to move on to Las Vegas. Devin Booker and another Suns player trapped Austin Reeves on the sideline, and they had the chance to tie the game. And LeBron, all the way down, if they were in Los Angeles, LeBron was up in Sacramento calling a timeout. Austin Reeves didn't even have the ball. The ball was out of his hands. There was no reason why that ref should have gave him the timeout. They gave LeBron a timeout when Austin Reeves didn't have the ball. It was the worst, most egregious, with everything on the line, and then like every single game is do or die. There's no way you can do that. And it's just, I don't care who you are, if you're a Laker fan out there, there's no way you can feel good about having a game stolen like that. Like, it was so egregious that it was like, this feels like Tim Donahue is still officiating, and he had money
makes you
on
wonder
the game.
sometimes.
Man, that was terrible. Whenever you get a chance, I'm not going to pull it up because we're going to move.
I'll watch it.
That was so egregious, man. Just watch it and know that you basketball fans out there, the player, the way it's called on every level is only the player with the ball or only the coach can call a timeout. And you have to have the ball secured in order to be awarded the timeout. Like, you can't sit there and call a timeout and you already like got the ball knocked out, or you haven't actually caught it yet. You have to have it secure possession. And if you watch that back, not only are they giving it to a whole nother, like, if we're going to call it like that, everybody in the arena can call timeout. Like what? And he didn't have the ball when he called it. So it was just kind of like, man, that was, if I'm Phoenix right now, I'm pissed, which I think they were. I think Vogel and Devin Booker even said, like, I'm never one that comes on here and says ref this or ref that. But y'all see it. There's no way that should have been awarded. Like, and there's an agenda. Like they wanted to see the Lakers go to Las Vegas. There's no other way to put it. So, because that was terrible, Jig. I was like, man,
I'll check it out. I'll have to watch this.
it feels like
That
pro
stuff drives
wrestling
me
when
nuts.
stuff like that. Oh my gosh, like
It feels like it's entertainment,
Ugh.
more entertainment.
it
than-
looked like it last night with Banchero. Like some of those plays, he wasn't even attempting to make basketball plays. He was just throwing his body into Cavs players, and the ref was like, "Yeah, go to the line." I was like, "You can't do that." Like, it doesn't even feel like NBA hoops whenever that happens. It feels like Monday Night Raw. So, all right, now that I've butchered the game of basketball and the enjoyment for everybody else,
Hey, we all get it. We all get it. Sometimes it goes in these stretches where it's like, what's really going on with
Yeah,
this?
what's
Is
happening
this a sport or is this WWE?
man.
But we love it anyways.
Yeah,
Once you get dug in, once somebody digs you into this game when you're 6 years old, 7
Yeah.
years old, there's no getting out.
I hope that so Milwaukee is starting to turn the corner. That they're still not great, but during this play-in thing, they looked really, really good when they whooped the Knicks the other day. It felt like they couldn't miss a shot from outside. I think Malik Beasley was like 8 for 9 or something. Like he was, and Malik Beasley right now, whenever he shoots a three, he does this weird thing where he leaves his hands up in the air and he does like this whole little shimmy. If you haven't seen him yet, you're gonna see him up.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, you and Luke are gonna
Is
see
it comparable to the Darius Miles head?
Kinda. So like when Beasley shoots it, no. So when he shoots it, he leaves his hands up like this every shot.
Okay.
So he's sitting there with his hands up. He waits to see if it goes in. Then he does like a little dance with like his hips. So he does like this little twist kind of thing.
Oh, that's
And
different. Okay, got it.
I'm like, man, if I was his coach, I would be super pissed because when he misses those and he's just standing there doing that and his guy is on the way to halfway to the rim, I get why he's doing it because it's like the crowd loves it and stuff. But he does it after every shot. Every time he shoots a three-pointer, he's prepared to do that.
Whether he makes it or not. Oh, okay.
He's standing there like ready and
If you're
waiting.
if you're the coach, you want to just throw him right out the window.
Dude,
Yeah.
Like you want to absolutely kill him. That one Jordan Clarkson clip where he shot it and he turned around and went like this.
Turned around and it bounces out. Oh,
That's what he looks like when he shoots it because he's not ready if it misses. So when you and Luke go to the game, you may see that. I just want you to be
I can't
prepared.
wait. And I'll have to tell him. I'll say, hey,
Watch this guy.
I'll make him cover his eyes. I'll make him cover his eyes.
He does like a little shimmy shake and he's ready to do the shimmy every single time. So
That's funny.
what you got on your recommendation for us?
I'm gonna tell you one that I discovered my junior year of high school. I'm gonna take you to the Wayback Machine. My buddy Jeremy, who introduced me to a lot of music, a lot of movies. I have one guy. I think everybody's got like one person to thank for a lot of their taste in music and videos. You know what I mean?
Right.
Had one buddy who introduced me to a lot of stuff back then. And this was my guy. I remember riding in his shitty car that smelled like 3 other people's stale cigarettes. And I remember, you know what I mean? Like 3 other people before him.
That's right.
Car smelled like stale cigarettes.
But it didn't matter. As long as it was moving, I was in it. Like, let's go.
As long as it was moving,
That's right.
I was in it.
Yep.
Pops in this CD. And I hear this song. And I remember thinking to myself, this song sounds like there's like bone. It sounds like the end of the world. It sounds like there's like bones falling out of the sky or something like that. Like I didn't even know how to describe it. I was like, what are we listening to, dude? Like I never heard anything like this before.
Right.
He goes, just listen, man. He goes, just listen. I said, who is this? He said, Tom Waits. Never listened to Tom Waits in my life before. So my mine today is Tom Waits, Mule Variations.
Mule Variations.
Tom Waits is one of the strangest musicians that there's ever been.
Right.
He's been around a long time. He's started making music back in the 70s. And he, I would say, almost has like a Bob Dylan kind of look, but
Okay.
he sings with like a gravelly snarl. And he has made some of the widest variety of musical sounds of anybody that I've known of, but it's always kind of traces back to this bluesy, folksy kind of mix. Um, and that particular album had some stuff that I had never heard in my life.
Right.
Some of the songs on there that I would recommend to anybody, or some of the recordings, because some of them aren't even songs. There's one called Eyeball Kid. I don't even know how to describe this song unless you listen to it.
All right.
And the other one that I would recommend to people is called House Where Nobody Lives. What that is it's a narrative, and I could only describe that as a man who's sitting across the street from somebody who is moved in, and
Right.
they're observing them, and he's describing all of the creepy things that he's thinking might be going on within that house, that stranger might be doing over there. And it's so original, and it's such a unique, odd thing to put on an album with what
Right.
I would say is really good music, that it's just so it's like so ballsy to do something like that. But it's so cool. It's so unique and wild to listen to something like that. And his voice and the prose is so engaging
Right.
that it's just super listenable. And there's another one called Chocolate Jesus that's
Yeah, I see
got
that.
this really bluesy. You've heard it before?
I haven't heard it. I'm looking at the whole track listing, and they show it through video.
Okay.
And Chocolate Jesus
Yeah,
is sitting there with
yeah.
a megaphone. I'm like, wait, this is about to be awesome.
And he does. He's singing it through the megaphone.
Okay.
It's some of the strangest, most unique music I've ever heard. Big in Japan is a not an original. That's been performed by a variety of different people. What's cool about Tom Waits is that there's so many other artists that have been influenced by him.
Okay.
I'm not even going to give you a list. It's a massive list of artists.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can think of a great artist now, they'll say that they've been influenced by him in
Tom
some
Waits.
fashion.
He's got like a
And
Bob Dylan meets Edward Scissorhands kind of thing going on here.
yeah, it's
Like
exactly what he looks like. And he dresses like Johnny Cash.
Bob Dylan
all in
meets
black.
Edward Scissorhands and Johnny Cash.
It's Johnny Cash.
Yep.
Dresses all in black with a big top hat on.
Okay.
And he himself was very influenced by like beat poets, and which is why he does a lot of narrative.
Okay.
Or would do a lot of narrative type stuff and put that on with music, which was neat. I think that's really cool.
Sure.
Very dark, like seedy underbelly type music. So you get a weird vibe out of what you're listening to.
He looks like he would make the entire soundtrack for Gangs of New York. You remember that movie?
That's exactly.
With
I do.
What was the
and
dude's
you
name?
know what's funny is one of the coolest songs. It's funny that you say that, because one of the coolest songs off of there is that Fife and what is it called? The Othar
off of this
it's the
album?
song when the Othar Turner Fife and drum group or something like that. It's like a very early version of blues.
Okay.
It's the song that they're playing whenever they're just about to start fighting.
Oh, you're talking about the actual Gangs in New York. I don't know the songs off there. I thought it was an awesome experience, but is that Tom Waits on the movie?
It is not.
Okay.
But
okay.
in the Gangs of New York movie, there is a lot of music that I would say, if you listen to it and then you listened to Tom Waits,
Got it.
you would 100% say, wow, this actually sounds like he's been inspired by that type of music before.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many unique instruments that he brings into
Yeah.
his,
Gangs in New
his
York
work.
or Peaky Blinders, like those types of shows.
Absolutely.
I could see him writing the entire score and the entire soundtrack for it.
And he could have. So he's a super interesting guy. You would find if you're interested in this kind of stuff, some people care, some don't. I think it's interesting, but that album is often placed in the top 500 albums of all time list.
Mule Variations
It did
is?
go, over time it did go platinum.
Okay.
It's for as unique and strange of an album as it is, it became very popular, which I think is cool. I mean, I think it's neat when strange, unique works catch on with the public.
Yeah, no,
I
I
really
agree.
think that's a cool
I agree.
thing.
What
So
was that?
that's it. Mule Variations. I'd recommend it to anybody. I know Keys loves Tom Waits. I've seen him talk about it.
All right. Yeah, because guess what? This guy here, this music, all love music, everything like that. Last week, I had never heard Jeff Buckley before. This week, I've never heard Tom Waits. Or I've never actively been like, let me play that Tom Waits. So
both of them are easy to miss, depending on what your frame of reference for music is. That's why I try to pick people who are kind of off the beaten path, or people who, if you know them, you might have missed the album before.
I like
this
it a
guy's Tom Waits is super easy.
No,
to
I've
miss.
heard the name totally. And I'm big on Tom Petty. He's on a lot of stuff. But oftentimes I would lump the two. But this dude is not that at all. Like this dude is.
He's his own thing.
Folksy.
There's nobody like Tom Waits.
Okay.
Nobody like Tom Waits.
We're gonna check
He's
him
his
out.
own thing.
All right. Well, Rubber Rim Jobbers.
I'd love to hear what you think, and I'm going to check out Mac Miller for sure.
If you haven't listened to these two artists, Mac Miller and Tom Waits, jump into Mac Miller Swimming or Tom Waits Mule Variations. So, all right, good stuff. So here's a mistake that we made that I have to touch on because this dude did he gave us a call. We've got to make sure. Are you tight on time like right now?
I got a couple more minutes.
Okay. I want to do Stick Boltman a service because he's been a long time contributor. He called us in. This is a 2-minute call, so we don't have the 10-minute call that we got from Brew. And Stick is pretty consistent with his sunshine pumping, so there's going to be some of that here. But we're going to make sure we do this, and then we're going to close out our call with a prediction for the next, and we'll get these guys off of this radio.
Rubber Rim Job Podcast. What is up, fellas? Hope you're doing very, very well tonight. It was a beautiful thing to see the Hawks go down.
I'm sorry. This is after the Hawks game. So the last game where we beat 2 games ago where we beat the Hawks.
Okay.
Stick Boltman called in and gave us this call.
We're in beautiful flow. I really enjoyed that game. I really did. I know Donovan has been taking some heat here and there for his ability to take over a game and disrupt the rest of the offense while doing so. But I thought he played really well tonight and dropped 40 on him. So, hey, let's take it. Also, I wanted to say really quickly, I know I'm going to go for a second. Okay. I'm just going to pick up those offensive rebounds and reset the shot clock to 14. I'm going to do that a couple times, so just bear with me. So I wanted to say this. The Cavs this season have not had a lot of consistency in their lineup combinations. Right now, as far as going into the Atlanta game, their most used lineup only played 86 minutes together. Elsewhere in the East, the Celtics, their most used lineup played almost 200 minutes together. There's a big discrepancy there. But I think that Bickerstaff is going to have to do a better job managing some of the ebbs and the flows of the game and the lineup combinations. But it's a work in progress. I will say that pace-wise, the Cavs are playing a little faster this year so far. They're around middle of the league, when last year they were near the bottom. So that's a big improvement. And yeah, I don't want to ramble on too much longer. Just wanted to say, love you guys. Keep on doing what you do. And go Cavs.
It's basketball time.
Stick Boatman. I thought that was going to be more sunshiny than it was. A lot of meat on there. I'm just going to touch. We're going to chew him in. If my brain was working, Stick, I would have made sure we played your call before we jumped into the game breakdown, because he totally talked about during the Atlanta game, Donovan scored 40, but he broke the offense a little bit. He said he'll take it because we won, but he wants the offense to be more free flowing and keep the ball moving. Well, a couple of nights later, that's what we're still seeing. And I think it was a 40-point game. Darius did go off late, but the game got tight because the ball stopped moving again. And then he also said something about the starting lineup, or the optimal lineup, had really only been together for 80-something minutes. And if you compare them around the East to other people like Boston, their top lineup has already had 200 minutes together, which is a valid thing. And then lastly, he said JBB's got to do a little bit better with mixing up his rotations and I think stretching out the rotations a little bit. But great call, Stick. Like, overall, I don't have any beef with anything you said there. You said you would take it if we get those Donovan Mitchell 40-point games. Of course we'll take them. Like, if we win.
Sure.
But we just it's not conducive to playoff winning in the playoffs, which is what we said in other episodes. Would we take a Donovan Mitchell 40-point game and a very close win over those losses that we saw, like the Trailblazer loss? Yes, of course. But in an ideal world, the ball's not stopping. It's not starting and stopping every time with Donovan ISOs. So, and we've talked about that ad nauseum, so we won't go into it again. I don't remember that Atlanta game as much. I do remember we undressed them pretty early. I think that Atlanta game, we were trying to get up by 20 points so we could go into the play-in tournament, because we had to have a certain point differential. And so his call was on the back end of that. So, yeah, we appreciate it. That's our first time this year hearing from Stick Boatman.
I know. We need more from him. I love hearing from him.
Yeah, that's my boy. I told you about. I met him up in Atlanta. We did drinks and stuff. And
that's right. You guys did hang out.
Yeah. Mason, he's up in Northern Virginia, somewhere northeastern Virginia, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to him, and thanks for the call. I totally played you on the timing of that. We should have played you earlier, but we're here now. What do you got for Mason's call? You got anything on Stick Boatman?
No, I agree. Honestly, I agree with what you said here. Yeah. Nothing major to add.
Yeah. That 80 games or 80 minutes as opposed to 200. That's going to happen when JVB is playing 6 and 7 man rotations, where guys are getting banged up. So, okay. How do we look schedule wise? I need to check, because we got the Miami Heat tomorrow.
It'd be an interesting one to see. That's a tough team. Where's the Heat?
So
let's see where they stand right now.
They came to Cleveland a couple of nights ago, and they beat us by 30, 129-96. So we owe them right now. In that game in Cleveland, they didn't have Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero. They didn't have a couple of guys.
Yeah, that's a team where I don't care what their record is. I always feel like it's going to be a challenge. They're just so well coached.
Right.
Same as I always felt about the Warriors.
I think they're healthy right now.
Before this year.
Yeah, before this year. I kid you not. If you get a chance, go back and watch some Clay highlights. He's giving you David Wesley right now. Like, he's totally looking like David Wesley on the court.
So they got a tough stretch here, man. They got the Heat, they got the Magic, they got Celtics back to back. Yeah,
it's a gamut right now.
Tough.
I'm glad they got out when they did, and got a hold of the Magic, and it was funny it wasn't funny. because they had a major injury to one of their top players. They were already missing 2 or 3 players, the Magic were, and they lost Jalen Suggs last night to what looks like something, like he might be down for some time. But you got to take them. You got to take the wins where you can. Like that year when we were whooping everybody's ass and then Rubio went down, nobody gave us a break, So you just said we've got Miami tomorrow, then Orlando to start next week, and then back to back, 2 games back to back in Boston. So what's your final score for the Miami game tomorrow?
Man, what are we playing?
We're in Miami for that game on a Friday night.
Just lost by 30. You just lost by 30 in Cleveland, right?
Yes, sir.
Heat 105. Cavs 100.
Okay. The second time this season I'm gonna deviate. I like 105, 100. We both know that both Bickerstaff and Spoelstra would like to keep the score lower. I don't know. That was the first game before the Portland game where the Cavs didn't score 100. So 96 against Miami, 95 against Portland are the lowest scoring games of the year, I think.
Okay.
No, we lost to New York the second game of the season with only 91 points. That was a game where Donovan was running point.
Right.
Let me get Cleveland 108, Miami 105.
Good. I would love that.
I truly believe that they're going to go down to Miami and exact a little revenge for that.
Good. I would love it.
They deserve it, and
they definitely deserve
that team is not 30 points better than us. I don't know.
No,
I don't know what was happening. There's been some rumors and some talk like, Donovan, that could be one of the places like Donovan doesn't mind looking at. So I believe we're going to get the best version of him, who's not going to, just want to stop the ball. And I think that the rest of the team has enough, fortitude to them that they're going to want to pay these guys back. And Miami is truly not that much better than us to have beat us by 30 like that. It's not a bad matchup either. It just was an unfocused team that night in Cleveland on the second night of a back-to-back.
It happens.
Yep.
Look, I would love a win here in Miami. That would say something.
Yeah. They caught us with we beat Philly in overtime, then Miami got us the next night. This ain't no back-to-back. So we're going down there to South Beach and we owe them a spanking. And I think the good guys will come out of this with a good win. So
I love it.
Rubber rim job. The Magic make good. Season 3, episode 7. One in the books for the guys, man.
You got it.
Appreciate you, Jig.
Appreciate you.
Have a good night, everybody.